Hello, good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing this very, very fine day? I don't know where you guys are at, but here in Melbourne, it's very sunny, it's very warm, and it's just a beautiful day. For those of you, obviously, who are based somewhere else, maybe in Indonesia, I hope you guys are all doing well, despite the current situation. Here in Melbourne, we are still in the middle of a lockdown, so we're just making the best that we can with what we have. So I think we should just get started now. It's already 4 o'clock. All right. So good afternoon and welcome to 11 Talks episode number 10. Thank you to all of you, our guests, for registering and setting aside some of your time to join us in what will be, what I think will be a very insightful and interesting afternoon session. Before we start, to facilitate this event and to ensure it's smooth running, can I please ask all of you to switch on your camera and mute your microphone if you can, if possible. We'll also be posting some highlights of today's event on our social media, but if you are unable to or uncomfortable with that, then you may keep your camera switched off. So really appreciate it if you could, switch on your camera and mute your microphone. So hello, my name is Adrian. I am the Managing Director of 11 Space, and I'm also the Program Director of the Incubation Program, and I will be your host tonight. So a little bit of 11 Space. So 11 Space is a business hub located on Collins Street, Melbourne, and Jakarta, Indonesia. So we recently opened our Jakarta office in November last year. So we exist to help doing business easier for people from all walks of life, regardless of their backgrounds or experience. So we do this by providing our clients with a growth ecosystem, which comprises of a co-working space, entrepreneurial program, business consultancy, and events. So what we're trying to do at 11 Space is we're trying to make it easier for people to do business, and hence why we provide our clients with our ecosystem. Now, a little bit about the 11 Talk series. So we've been doing this since the lockdown last year. It's been a while since we actually did the last one. So we're very, very excited and very pleased to be able to do it again. So the 11 Talk is a part of a series of events done by 11 Space to assist people from all walks of life to learn something new about entrepreneurship and business. Our events are designed to provide a platform for all people to learn from industry experts. That's why tonight we have two very special guests, people who we know and we're very familiar with and who are very experienced in the entrepreneurship and the startup world. But before we get into the main session, you can please follow us on Instagram and on our Facebook, and you can do that by scanning the QR code on screen. Please follow us so that you can get the latest update of what we do here at 11 Space and our activities and our events. So why are we here today? I mean, I believe some of us are here because we are curious about entrepreneurship. We're curious about business. Some of us here you're here because you like to start your own business, but might be reluctant or might not be too confident about it. And some of us would like to know whether or not it's a good time to start a business here in Australia or wherever you might be located at the moment. So regardless of the reasons why you're here, I'm sure you will learn something new from our speakers this afternoon. So today we are joined by Ivan Tandyo, the CEO and founder of Navanti Holdings and 11 Space, and Indra Pramana, the CEO of Navanti Indonesia. So both will be sharing from their experience in building their own business and helping others to do the same. So please join me in welcoming Ivan and Indra to 11 Talk episode 10. But before we do that, let's take a quick group photo. Let me just stop sharing my screen if that's possible. Stop sharing. Yeah. There you go. Okay, let's just quickly take a photo of everyone. So if you are comfortable, please turn on your camera. If not, that's perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna quickly take a group photo. Okay, here we go. Everyone, look at the camera. 3, 2, 1. Just one more. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Okay, so actually, I don't need to do that. All right. So let's get started on our main segment. So once again, Ivan and Indra, welcome to 11 Talk. It's great to have you both with us this afternoon. And Ovia, thank you so much for sparing some of your time.
Thank you, Adrian. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ed.
No worries. So before we get started on the main topic tonight, would you like to maybe give a brief introduction of yourself and maybe a bit of what you've done in the past and a bit about Navanti Holding?
Sorry, Adrian.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you repeat that again?
Yep. Sorry, I was saying before we start the main topic of tonight, can you please introduce yourself, a bit about what you've done and a little bit about Navanti Holdings?
Yeah, sure. I see a lot of my friends here. Hello, Pak Yapit. Hello, Pak Iwan. Pak Tobing. Good to see you all. I guess I'm very excited to share again today here with you, heart to heart, and just for us to uplift each other in time like this. It's a privilege to be here. It's an honor. I started the company like Navanti. Navanti founded 11 Space too. So we are an investment company. So we've been investing in diversified investment. And then we have 11 Space as our incubator and accelerator, because this is a platform that we use to continually find and spot new talents and new businesses so that we can continually make a sound investment. So our company has been existed for more than 14 years. At least in the last 14 years, we've been investing in SMEs and Series A, let's put it in that new term, in different kind of sectors, with mainly from property sides, a lot of businesses from properties, and some in manufacturing, services, and so on, and creative and so on. So it's a privilege for me to be here with you guys. Looking forward to be hearing your questions, to exchange information. And thank you, Adrian.
Thank you, Ivan. How about Indra, yourself? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, I think Ivan has explained the whole summary of what Navanti Group is doing. Me, myself, I'm sort of like the extension arms here in Indonesia. We don't want to forget about where we're coming from. So we come back to our roots, and we believe that Indonesia and Australia has a lot of potential that we can cross from each of the countries in terms of businesses, investment, and even entrepreneurships. So that's what we are trying to do since 2018 now, and I'm based in Jakarta at the moment. So good to see you all today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Indra. Oh, by the way, to all our guests tonight, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat box. And then after the main session tonight, we will go through all the questions that you might have for our guest speakers this afternoon. All right, so let's get into it. So Ivan and Indra, starting a business is, it involves lots of challenges, for many people. And I guess one of the most common thing that people always mention when it comes to starting a business is money, right? And, because money is, you do need money at the end of the day, you need, the saying goes, you need money to make money. So, how much money do you need to be able to start a business?
Well, it's a very challenging question, but again, I like to challenge what you said, because when you mentioned earlier that statement, actually not challenging you, but I would like to challenge that statement where the world always say, you need money to create money. So in a way, the richer is becoming richer, and no chance for the rest of the people. And that's what I try my best through Navanti. We try to prove it the other way around. We try to give people or our partners the same chance for everyone to be successful in business. And throughout my journey, it's also I experienced that a lot of the business that I spent money, a lot of capital into it. Like I used to do restaurant in the first around 6 years of my business in the beginning of my doing business. And it doesn't mean that by deploying a lot of money and your business is becoming big and successful. Through my journey, that business, you spend easily $500,000 one restaurant, and it went down the drain at the end, right? But there are a lot of other businesses that I do within Navanti itself in the early stage, which require very less capital. And now the business has grown tremendously. So yes, you need money, but money is not everything. I will come back to your questions. How much money do we need? Because it's very, very subjective, very relative to what. But the fundamental is this. To me, money is not everything. To me, creativity is more precious than money, because in a pressure time like this, especially, we are being forced not for us to depend on money. So when you are under pressure, actually your creativity works better. Hopefully, if you have that mindset, because you want to really hustle and try to find a way under the pressure. And as Albert Einstein said, right, imaginations is more precious than knowledge and all that. So I truly believe that yes, you need money, but more than that, you need to have an idea of fundamentals of the creativity behind the business itself. Then coming back to the money you need, depending on the business, what kind of business you're tapping into, what kind of industry you're tapping into. If you're going to tap into a manufacturing business like what we done with the Kirana, that's a lot of money being deployed, because you need to buy one equipment. It's already like $500,000 or $1 million for $1.5 million for laser machines. So depending on the business itself, it required very different type of capital level. Yeah.
I see. How about Indra? Do you have any thoughts on this question?
Yeah. So I'll try to answer it more to the question. So how much money again? Like Ivan said, it really depends on what kind of business. But I think I just want to encourage each one of us here to really know your numbers, to really know your finance game, because I've seen a lot of startups, entrepreneurs that started to build their own business, but then they overestimate or even underestimate the amount of funds that they need and require. And all of a sudden they stop in the middle of the way just because they miscalculated everything. And I think that's the worst thing can happen to an entrepreneur. You got money, access, you got your idea, concept right, but then your numbers games are not right, and you just have to stop in the middle of your way. And that is not, that's not beautiful. So I just want to encourage you to really get to know what are the number components important to your business and to start your business. And don't get too overwhelmed, by your competition, by your friends or your family, other businesses. Just focus on what you have and start.
I'm a big believer that if we try to manage too much as well while the capacity is not there, I don't think we are ever going to make it. So I think that's what I have from my perspective on this question.
Okay, so let's just I guess dig deeper in that. So let's say you've got all the numbers, your numbers figured out, right? You know what you want to do, but again, how would you then go about in raising the required capital to start the business?
You want to raise capital?
I mean, that is obviously if you don't have family members who can fund your business, how else would you go about it?
Very simple. You need to understand how the movement of money.
Yeah.
Where does money go? when there isn't a return, right? Where does return comes? Returns come from a business that is running, that is profitable. So at the end of the day, when you talk commercial, when you talk about investment, in the eye of the investors, are you able to return the money? Are you able? Is the return enough from with my expectations? So I guess in the first place, fundamentally, your business must be working. That idea must be a working business, or at least has the potential to work, and you got to be able to prove it. Trust me, if you have a brilliant idea that have a huge potential, you can prove the story, you can prove the roadmap that is going to work. Money will come. Money is actually a byproduct, not the end of it, but it's a byproduct of having a solution to a problem.
Okay.
That's very true, and I think you have a lot of access to access money. When people are trying to say that, we need investors. We need investors. Maybe I would like to tell one thing, that people who's got money and who wants to invest, there are lots. A lot of people in this world who has the money and would like to invest, right? But then coming back to what Ivan just said, it's all about how you portray your business and how you plan it. And at the end of the day, it's about your own, reputation as a businessman. Because one investment will never be enough. Probably you might need a couple of investment, and it all comes down to you as the founder of the business. And I think that's what I like from 11 Space, have the initiative to really launch the programs to guiding these early entrepreneurs to do those kind of stuff, to go into this kind of program and understand that investment or the money that we need for to start a business is not about deploying the money, but it's about understanding us as a founder, and to understand investor as the potential partner to take our business even further. So that's what I see from investment and investors kind of sides.
Just keep in mind, Adrian, that when we invite investors to invest in our companies or our ideas, we are actually managing their risk while they want to reach their expectations. So it's very important to understand, when a startup company wants to raise money, they have to be able to explain all this. How do you manage the risk to keep it within the risk level of what the investors is willing to take for the return they will expect?
I see. So let's say if we maybe take one step back, before you, obviously, you mentioned that one way to raise capital is through, through approaching investors and, trying to convince them to give us their money, right? So what are some of the things that, like you need to do, or you need to prepare before you can get to that stage, to sell your business or to pitch your business in front of investors?
A lot of preparations. That's like explaining the whole program of 11 Space, isn't it, Adrian? We teach. No, I'm really proud of what you guys have done at 11 Space. I mean, I have a solid team within 11 Space, and they've curated the best program, and they have actually took note of the journey of Navanti, what's wrong and what went right and what went wrong. We actually put it into the program, and that's what we are training there right from the beginning. How do you model your business, the fundamentals? How are you going to be invest ready? I guess that's the questions, right? Everybody wants to raise money, and a lot of investors want to put money, but are you invest ready? And what's the term of invest ready? It's a lot of checklists, a lot of tick boxes that you have to tick within the company itself. And that probably Indra can explain. That's a lot of jargons, a lot of formulas, a lot of, from the operations, from the financial side, from the projection, from the budgeting. It's a whole roadmap that people wants to see. Pretty much, you got to be able to explain the roadmap. The roadmap is, to me, is like this. You want $1 million from someone, plus the interest or the return, meaning you got to find a roadmap to be able to pay back that $1 million plus the return, plus the capital gain or whatever it is. And if your roadmap can't explain how do you do that, and that's coming back again, a lot of people forget about that. Like we normally a lot of the time we underestimate the trust has been being given by the investors to us. And once we get the money, yeah, it's the end game just to get the money, but it's not like that. The end game is to return the money. And how can you make that benefits to the investors? Yeah.
How about you, Indra? Based on your experience, like what are the things do you think like a startup or an entrepreneur would need to prepare in order to successfully raise money?
Yeah, I'd like to come back to Ivan's point saying that we have to be invest ready. And coming back to my point earlier, I think at the end of the day, it's about the trust. It's about our reputation as the founder. You have to build a certain reputation and trust relationship between you and the potential investor by showing what? First of all, obviously your good track record as a founder. What was your background like? Etc. etc. And when it comes to your business idea, definitely the simplest form as what we call nowadays as a pitch deck. What's really inside a pitch deck? Pitch deck basically is a summary of your 20, 30, 40 pages of your business plan sums up together just into 10 to 15 slides. And what needs to be present in there is your business making money? Can your business make money? That's most importantly. Are you approaching it as a non-profit or are you approaching it as a profit? If it's as a profit, you have to know how you make the money and how you sustain your business, because I've seen a lot of startups, they are excited about the ideas that they have, but they forgot to make money. And they think they can just acquire customer and after customers, but they're ending nowhere, So that's what business model or the knowledge of designing the right business model is very important and come very handy. If you really understand your business right, your business model right, and then you know what the investment is for. And trust me, even though as many people wants to get investment, if I ask them, if I give you $1 million today, what are you going to do with your business? They go blank. They can't even answer that questions because they're not come prepared. For some people it's easy to spend 1 million. For some people it's very difficult to spend $1 million. So those are some of the key points, and it needs a thorough process and a holistic understanding about this entrepreneurship for what are the things needs to be prepared. That's why people usually comes to a venture capital or even a consultant or even a venture builder to really consult with them on how should they raise their investment for an investor, because you need your roadmap not only for your business, you need a roadmap for your investment, you need to deal with the terms and condition. And I think that's where also in this case 11 Space plays a huge role in this ecosystem.
Okay, interesting. So obviously from what I gather from what you guys are saying is, in order for you to successfully raise money, you need to be investment ready. And part of the process of being investment ready, you need to have your business plan ready, and then you need to prepare your pitch deck. And that involves having a good business model, right? That's what you mentioned earlier, Indra. So going into that term, business model, like if I ask you, what is a business model, and how do you make one?
Well, business model in a simple term is actually just a plan. Is a plan, is a model, is a formula of how the business is going to run. It define the product, it define the services, it define what pain they're trying to answer, the solutions, and also explaining the revenue model. So pretty much that's a business model. How do you model the actual business as a whole? Yeah. And what do you anything else that you want to elaborate from the business model, Adrian? Anything that you want us to elaborate?
What makes a business model? And maybe Indra, if you can go deeper into this, because it's interesting, like people keep saying, oh, what is your business model? What is your business model? But what is it? What are the components of a business model,
Yeah. I totally agree. It's basically a summary of what your business plan is, and usually people, when the general terms of business modeling in the common world now, in especially in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, they mostly refer to how you make the money, right? And what kind of a revenue modeling are you using? Are you using a subscription? Are you using just a once-off fee? Are you selling your product as a service, or are you selling your product as it is? Is it a white labeling business type of model? Are you more into B2B, B2C? All those kind of things sums up into one business model. So let's say I want to open up a Japanese restaurant, and okay, I open a Japanese restaurant specializing in sushi, and then probably on my ground level floor I'll open up a salmon and beef specialty store. While I'm also using the ingredients from there, I can also sell it to the public. So that gives a better understanding of what a business model is. So meaning I'm also doing a B2C, but I'm also doing a B2B behind it. I also supplies to other sushi restaurants, and I can cut down my cost of goods sold in my restaurants. That's just one example of how to build a business model. Or in the startup world, people usually refer it to things like, oh, I'm creating a Uber business model for education, you know, or I'm creating another Amazon focusing on F&B. So because people understand how Amazon and this big startup works, it's easier to refer it that way. So it's a matter of how you run your business and how you model your business to create revenue.
Okay, thank you for
I,
that.
I have questions to the audience to ponder. Just imagining if you observe McDonald's, would you be able to know their business model? Just think about that, because it could be very tricky. I learned about McDonald's, and what you see outside, it's probably not their actually they have an internal agenda of how they model the business. So search for it. I'm not going to tell it here.
McDonald's is a very interesting business.
Very interesting business model. Yeah.
So
that's how you actually define business model. If you understand that, you'll understand business model.
Because it's not as what it seems with
exactly,
McDonald's.
Right? It's very sleeper.
So if you are interested in learning about McDonald's, learning about business or business model, McDonald's would be a good example for I think for all your guests to do a bit of research on. I want to go back to that term that you used earlier, Indra, startups, right? I mean, we use the word startups and we use the word, business and SMEs, like what is a startups, and like what is it, and is it different to conventional business?
Okay, well, I think in our terms in Navanti Group, we call any of businesses a startup anyway, but that's just for us internally. We see anyone who starts a business, we call it a startup because they're just starting up a business. But then the world refers a bit different. Most of the people refer startup to a business that have initiative in technology development or technology-based company, right? Whether that's a heavy cloud system technology or it's just a mix of a bit of technology. But then that's what the world is referring into a startup. But for me, and I believe Ivan also in the same page, that any of the business who just starts, it's called a startup, and people sometimes still refer Google as a startup. Although Google is so massive and so big, Amazon is big, they're not startup anymore, So it's just the jargon and the terms that most of the people use in the startup ecosystem.
Yeah, let me add to that. I mean, one thing that you have to understand, you need to be able to define it though. You need to be able to define whether this is a tech-based company or is it a conventional business. Just for one thing, because they are being structured differently. Tech startup or tech-based business have their roadmap model quite differently to the traditional business. So we as an investors need to be able to differentiate the two. We as a business operator also need to be able to differentiate the two, because when we build the plan, we need to know which pathways. Is this a tech pathways or is it a conventional pathways? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now let's I guess focus on the current situation right now. With the pandemic happening, with people countries or cities getting locked down by the government because of the pandemic. Obviously, it's been very devastating for the business community. Especially we're at 11 Space, we understand that because most of our members are startups and small businesses, and no doubt the impact of the lockdown has been quite severe. Now, for those people who are thinking about starting a business, I mean, in this kind of environment, like, how would you know like what to do, like which industry to tap into, and considering this really very difficult situation?
Watch the wind flows and the crystal ball. I'm just joking.
That's a $1 million question.
How would I know, man? No. It's
You would have tapping into it first.
in any business environment, in any circumstances, you need to be able to understand the weather and to understand the impact of the weather. Now, for you to be able to understand what business works, you need to first understand what really impacted the pandemic. What really impacted by the pandemic. By understanding that, which sectors and how it is being impacted, how the market has shifted and behaved, then you'll be able to pick which one is still have the bigger opportunity for you to actually strive even in the middle of the struggle. So there is a lot things to think about, a lot things to consider and to observe and do numbers as well. Yeah, I'll leave it very broad because to go in deeper, there's so many things. All right. For one example, we have many different portfolios in Navanti. A few of the companies didn't work anymore during COVID. Some of them we need to evolve them to completely different business. Some of them we just need to shelve it in the middle of the COVID. So there are things that don't work in the midst of COVID, but there are things that strive in the midst of COVID too. So you just need to be able to identify. But back again, what really is the impact of the pandemic? Yeah.
So I guess it's about identifying the needs. Is that
yes correct? Yeah, identifying the problems that are being created by the COVID itself. There's so many problems. Like if you see now that a lot of people are depressed, that's another problem to have, and that means there's another opportunity to solve, right? There are a lot of suicide level, people are scared, a lot of medical needs, a lot of this and that, blah, blah. There's so many problems that are being created. And you got to remember, as always, my mentor always told me, right, behind every problem, there are solutions. Behind every solutions, there are revenues and business opportunity.
So basically, just because currently the business environment or situation is is unstable or lots of risk involved, it doesn't mean that you should not try to pursue your dream of owning your own business, right? I mean, I guess what you're trying to say is don't let the pandemic stop you from doing what you want to do and starting your own business.
I think this is very interesting, Adrian. I mean, I don't want people to take advantage. That's not that. I think the flag that we have to raise is about having the passion to contribute to the situations, to actually be somewhat a game changer or something, provide something that will ease people's pain or ease people's problem. You know more than me, Adrian, that a lot of gigantic corporations is taking a ride in this, but we're not trying to take advantage over anything, but we want to become that solution. We want to become the answer. If you can be a help, any kind of help in this kind of COVID, you have a business model. You will have a brilliant potential business there as well to do.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that. So yeah, so guys, despite the difficult situation, don't let it stop you from I guess continue to pursue your dream. I mean, you might not have the kind of the business that, that is might be suitable in the current environment, but you never know later on when the economy opens up again. If you start preparing it now, you'll be ready to launch it later on, once everything is gone back to normal, as as how the government would say. All right, cool. Thank you for that. I want to move on to more about, I guess, the confidence in entrepreneurs. Many people, they're afraid to do businesses because sometimes, because they feel like they don't have the right attributes or strength or experience, right? For example, some people are not good at selling, or they lack business skill or experience, or it could be that they don't come from a business background, right? How would you overcome this? But they want to do business. It's just that they don't lack the experience or the attributes. How would you overcome this kind of this issue?
Yeah, let me start with this. Indra can add on to this. If you want to have the experience to fly, you have to do your hours. You just have to fly the plane. You just have to do it. But the thing with flying is this: you can't fly alone. You need to have a coach. You need to have a class. You need to have a training. You have to have the license. You do your time, but don't be stupid crashing the flight in the first flight, right? But there's no way, there's no shortcut. You can only gain experience as time goes by, as you do it. So don't be fearful. Do it with caution. Do it with the right mentor. Do it with the right program. I mean, like, we have 11 space. Back then, when I started business, I don't even have 11 space, 21 space, 12 space, nothing. Even the consulate was not like the current situation right now, where the government, I feel such a huge contributions by the government, and they're really very supportive nowadays with other startups. And look at the ecosystem around you in Melbourne. There's so many ecosystems, accelerator and stuff like that. People talk about it. How can we be a help? Back then, there's nothing like that. So get to know things that are being provided by 11 Space, and the thing that we do. Those are the coaching and the training, when we have designed that to help people to fly.
Okay. Indra, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think, well, I believe every successful startup founder, they start from zero experience, because along the way, while the company grows, we as a founder will grow as well, forced by the condition, forced by the circumstances, so I always admit, I always admire founder who really hustle their way up. Whatever circumstances that they have, they just hustle through. They learn every single thing that they couldn't do and they don't have skills with, because sometimes we want to do A, but then unfortunately we have to end up doing B, something that we probably don't have any background with, But then many people have proved that even though you don't have the background for it, if you keep on hustling, if you keep on, doing your stuff, focusing on to your business, focusing on what you have, then you'll reach somewhere. And along the way, you need partner, and along the way, you need mentors, you need the coach, right? So mentors, coach, investors, they just gonna become whether your business partner or they become your sidekick, to help you to achieve your goals. And I think nowadays the message that I want to convey as well is, we don't have to be greedy to own the whole ship by own ourselves, 100%. Let's share the cake with others who also have the same vision, same DNA, for us to achieve the same goals together. Otherwise, this world is getting more difficult, and we can't achieve everything by ourselves. Forget about those kind of approach. It's time to really collaborate with one another and to achieve a greater vision that we want.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into a dense forest in India or Amazon, you need a local tour guide. Otherwise, you wouldn't know, especially if it's at night. You wouldn't know where the snakes are, where the piranhas are, where are the traps, the holes, and just to make sure. Because why? This tour guide knows they've fallen into the trap many times and they got out of it. And the idea is having a coach is like to have someone right there who have the experience, who can already foresee through their experience that, hey, there's a hole there. Don't make the same mistakes. Do this. When this comes, do that. And don't do this, don't do that. A lot of the don'ts are actually more important than the do's. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, having coaches and mentors. They'll be able to, I guess, guide you to sort of to the right direction and to kind of prevent you from falling into the same holes that they might have already, fallen into previously. So it kind of like lessen the pain of starting your business, because the entrepreneurship journey it can be quite difficult, it can be quite challenging, but if you have someone there who has done it before, it'll just make it a bit more easier for you. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because let's be honest, starting a business is not easy, but it's just going to make it a bit easier in the long run. Now I want to touch on to that what you mentioned, Indra, about sharing the cake, right? Are you referring to like maybe like having an additional founder, or maybe joining up with someone else to start a business, or is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Because obviously one man cannot conquer the world by himself, so we need to know. And I learned this a lot from Ivan. He always told me that look for your weaknesses first, because we as human beings, we tend to see a lot of our strengths, and we very hard to be able to see our own weaknesses. Once we see our weaknesses and spot them, we know what to fill in. We know what kind of partner we need, to run our business. Whether it's the key people that going to sit in a certain position in our business, or it should be a business partner that can run together, that can fill in, the gap. Because many of the partnerships usually they just go by relationship or feelings, but then actually they're overlapping, and so the harmony of the business is not so good for them to be able to run for a longer period of time and to achieve the goals.
So how would you like find the right people, to or for your team, or how would you find these people? Like, what kind of things should you be looking for?
I think it comes down to the vision that you have for your business. uh, People will be attracted to your vision that you carry, uh, because if you have the right vision, you'll be able to attract the right people to really run with you together and to be able to achieve your dreams, to whatever dreams that you have in your company. And I believe, like us in Navanti, we are drawn to the same vision that Ivan is carrying, and so that's why there are 8 people on board to his vision to help achieving what dreams that he has. you know because if we as a founder, we don't have the vision and we don't know what's next for our venture, then even our employees will get upset. They don't even know where to run and where my boss is leading me to. And forget about talking about partnership, but even your staff will get confused and demotivated.
I guess finding people, partners, or team with the same values is so important. Same vision, same values. In Navanti, we always try to accelerate business who have impact as well. So impactful business is as important as sustainable, as important as profitable business. So those are the things that we need to make sure when you try to find a team. Not just be team who can fulfill your lacking of expertise or the area that you need to be filled in, but also someone who can, carry the torch together towards the same visions and the same missions.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's now open it to the audience. So let's open the floor and see if whether or not are there any questions that the audience might want to ask our guest tonight. Let's see. Is there any? I can't see any questions in the chat box.
I think
hold on, there's one from Gift Society. Is it? Yes, from Gift Society.
I
Would you like
love.
to ask your question?
So my question was about the Indra mentioned about was it a venture agent, someone to assist with your business model. So obviously I've got an existing business. Could they still assist to fine tune it? And does 11th Space offer that service to the members?
Yep. Maybe I'll get either maybe Ivan or Indra to answer this question.
Lavinia.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Are you asking about to help to model the business?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You can always. The door is always open for you. Maybe after this lockdown, right? So yeah. Lav. That's definitely one of the things that one of the big things that we do in one of the activity that we do with all the startups within the 11 space, especially if you becoming part of our accelerator. Becoming a part of our accelerator, meaning you become a partner to Navanti. Obviously you have to go through. Not every business we can take into as accelerator or into our partnerships. But then in there, it's one of the things that we do is to how to design the proper business model step by step, and we grind everything through it. And we can actually do it just for, I think you can always come to us and chat about this one. We can help you in the business. We want to become the catalyst of any business, want to grow, want to expand to the next directions. I know you've already grown your business, and we're very proud of you. You're part of the membership as well. And we've seen how your business, how you struggle and we strive through it, and where you're at right now. I think probably it's a good timing for you to model it properly before you go to the next round, to the next stage. So do talk to us. Yeah, definitely we have that. Yeah.
Okay, great. And what is the process?
So I guess depends really, because in 11 space we have our consulting departments as well, called the business consulting part, called Navanti Business Consulting. We help a lot of businesses, a lot of SMEs to expand, to do restructuring, to do cross borders as well. And that's probably the most relevant to you is to discuss this with these teams, and just to discuss what are the needs that you want, what's the problem you're going through, and how we can help you to model your business. Hey, Kitty. Remember, Lavinia was, carrying so much.
Gee, thanks. Really emphasize that one.
When we were still be able to come to the office, huh? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
but talk to us. Yes, email Adrian, email the team. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Lavinia. Is there any other questions, guys, from the audience? Any other guests? No. It doesn't have to be related to the topic tonight. If you are a small business already running, and you might have a question on how you can maybe promote your business, for example, during time of COVID. Antonius, yes. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Hi, Ivan. How are you? I'm looking forward to have a jam session, having a jam session with you. I'll be playing bass. I'm not sure what you're gonna play anyway.
One day we should do that. Yeah. I've already brought my amplifier. I've already brought my amp to the office, and the guitar as well. So planning to have a mini band session there. We'll let you know.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah. Let's put that aside. Just as a chit chat. All right. Anyway, I've been listening to, or I've been attending various discussions on startups and stuff like that. And actually, in one of the class that I attended, Hugh Williams, he used to work for Google, eBay, Microsoft, stuff like that. He mentioned about implementing digital solutions as startups. Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to say, what I want to ask is that how heavy or how we put that into equation when it comes to selection of startup we're going to choose. I mean, it's not always about digital technology. I mean, how do you come up with the ideas that I'm going to grab that area? I'm going to do that kind of business, that particular one, that kind of business model, just instead of just the one that's digitally driven or something like that. What's your checklist to say, if we have this, then we go for digital business model. If it's not, then let's just go to the conventional one.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Thank you for the question, Mas Anton. I think for Navanti it's quite simple, because number one, we prioritize business who have the captive relationship with our existing company. So because we have already operating and still operating that business, again, whether that's property related, whether that's service related, whether that's creative related, trading, manufacturing, those are the area that we already operate on operational. So any business that has a captive market to us, I think that is a no-brainer for us. Because the model of the Navanti is we try to build one business, make them successful, create them into a cash cow, positive cash flow, business profitability, and all that. And then having that cash cow, build all the captive business around it. And that's how we actually maximize it. It's almost like going to McDonald's and having the burger, but now I just create the fries. I just provide the Coke. I just provide this chocolate sundaes and everything. So any new business who is within the captive market, that's already a big checklist. Whether that's technology or not, it's the same thing. We invest in a company, technology company. It's in property building management. It's very related to what we are doing too. And the other company that we invested in, Australia company, pre-IPO, called Homely, realestate.com and domain.com. This is the third one, called Homely. We invest in them because we already own real estate agencies. So things like that is very important for us. But other than that, because of the 11 space, now we start to encounter many different businesses from many different angles. We don't just take business who is within the captive market of what we're doing, but we tend to score the business based on different scoring sheets, which is like whether this business has the same values to us, have the same mission to us, whether this business is impactful, whether this business have the right founder to be partnered with, and that's how we do it. And we now screen who we partner with through the program that 11 Space is providing, which is the incubations. Hopefully that's helpful, Pak.
I think if I can add to what Anthony is saying as well, what Ivan was saying is, I guess as a founder, how do you decide whether or not you should take your business digitally or just going to conventional businesses? There are many things that you should ask. For example, the first one is, who's your target market and what kind of reach would you like? Because the purpose of technology and digital platform is for you to reach a wider audience. Now, if I can take because a quick, simple example with Amazon, for example, right? Amazon started as an online bookstore, like Jeff Bezos. Why did he decide to open an online bookstore and not just a conventional bookstore? And I think, I don't know what was his reasoning back then, but you can safely assume that he wants to have a wider reach, wants to be able to sell his books or whatever it is that he's selling to more audience, to a greater audience. That's why he decided to create an online marketplace rather than just opening a traditional brick and mortar shop. So I guess it really is depend on what you want to do, depends on the product that you sell, depends on your target market, depends on the reach that you want to, and depends on your vision and your mission as well. What is it that you want to achieve through your business? So there's lots of, tick box that you need to, but you need to create that tick box first before you can go through that list. So I guess it really is depends on what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, in the future. Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question, Pak Anton. Next, we have an anonymous question from one of the participants. So I'm just going to read it out, maybe to Ivan and Indra, if you could answer this question. So the question is, if a person wants to start a B2B business, how do they go about finding business clients outside of friends and families?
Okay, I'll answer that first. If you are on the States as ready as finding a client outside your friends and family, thumbs up to that. You know, you have to be proud of yourself. Meaning there's a level of quality trust that your friends and family wanted to use your services. Okay, and from there onwards, it's about you carrying the story about your business. That comes down more into the marketing strategy, right? I believe a brand that carries a story and can convey the story right to the eye of the public, that brand will stay longer than whoever is just trying to sell products or services as it is, you know. So carry the story, create the right story to your audience, and I believe after you already serving a couple of your friends and family, you must have known that what kind of things is important in the eye of your clients, right? So from there on, you can start to shift the right story, or you can narrate the right story for your social media, for your advertisement, for your promotion, etc., etc. So I think that's how I would like to approach it. And B2B usually it's slightly easier because you don't have to really capture the big pool of this market size, you know, as compared to B2C. Uh, what's most important for B2B relationship is basically the trust that you can carry through your brand and maintaining the relationship, the quality between your client and yourself.
Thank you, Indra. Ivan, do you have anything to add?
No, completely agree. I think that's spot on because you just that question actually it's about finding your product market fit, from finding your target market. And this is the thing, beyond your friends and families, who would you think know these people? Who would you think is able to reach people beyond your friend and families? I'm talking about platform, talking about channels, I'm talking about this is part of the what Indra is explaining. So you need to understand what kind of platform or technology or lead generating platform that you can use to actually tap into these people, because you don't know these people. Simple example, Google SEO, right? Social media, targeted Instagram. Those are the things that I keep telling my team, right? There are a lot of people who actually need our product, but we don't know them. But who knows them? Google knows them. Other than Google, who knows them? Facebook knows them. So why don't we make use of these people and tap into this mic? Because they need to hear our story. So pretty much what Indra is saying, that's right. Yeah, they need to hear our story. But who will be able to deliver that message? That's marketing.
So having a good marketing strategy, someone who knows, understand marketing
Absolutely.
is very important for you if you want to reach beyond just your circle of friends or family.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you need to build trust through a system. Your friend and family, you build trust through the relationship between you and them. But this one, you need to use a system, a platform, an advertising, a video, a digital marketing to be able to build that instant trust almost. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that without subject to, they will trust based subject to the reality. They will say, oh, this is cool. If this is really cool, I'm interested. I'm signing in subject to, this is real. If you understand what I'm saying. If you look into an advertising and all that, you look like, this is so good. I hope this is legit, right? I want this, but I hope this is legit. I hope this is the real deal. So it's so important. I think marketing departments, even here in our 11 space and Navanti group, I think marketing department is key. They need to understand this. How can they tell the story? And it's so important that your marketer to understand who you are, the story. Because a lot of the time, that's why I spend a lot of time. I told Adrian, I want to spend time to impart who we are, the story behind it. And you have to draw attention to this, not just running with the details, but you need to grab who we really are and what really the story. And that's because this thing that you need to tell them, that's marketing. That's a solution that you're trying to portray need to be useful to the market that you're trying to tap. That means otherwise you're tapping into a wrong market, or definitely you're providing a wrong product. So, but if you have that and then you're using the right platform, then the audience is exactly the people that who needs that properly solutions, sales will happen.
Thank you, Ivan. Okay, I think we will have time for one more question because we are running out of time, unfortunately. So maybe Jason, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, hi. Hi, thank you for the hosting. Yes, yeah, I have a question regarding like startups in e-commerce, because like personally I am having difficulties in like reaching the traffic, market traffic of Australia, like promoting my business and all that. And I've tried like Instagram promotions and like advertisements, but it just doesn't seem to work. Like, is there any like suggestions and tips from your side in like how to promote it towards the Australian market?
I've observed you mentioned about e-commerce, yeah, Jason?
Yeah.
You have to remember there are thousands of people like you or millions other people like you. And that's the problem. You're not the only one. And how can you make stands up? Now, I'm not sure if your product is related to fashion, is related to design and stuff like that. But if it does, the key that I have observed in the past, people who are successful, they have to create a hype. Now, whether people are drawn into the hype, whether people are drawn into the story, and how can you get and use that momentum to do the sales and to do the business, you know? But you need to be able to make that first bang and create a hype through the line through the product that you're selling. Through, obviously, it's marketing strategy, it's the concepts. You know, a lot of the product is just the same thing. You know, yeah, come on, what's the difference? I can do this, right? A lot of the time we do that, but why? Why they can deliver it? It's about, you know, even Kanye West or Virgil Abloh, they create Off-White, if you understand Off-White, and then if Adidas Yeezy, right? Study them. How can they create such a hype? And now Virgil Abloh become the lead designer for Louis Vuitton. There's a position not for everyone being chosen by LVMH to lead Louis Vuitton. He's now stepping up, I think, going to be the lead creative for the whole company group, LVMH. So why? It's just stripes. But again, I think that's the key, because there are thousands others, there are millions others even, who's trying to do the same thing at the same time. But there are audience too who might be attracted to your product, to do the genius behind the creativity genius behind the product. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your input.
Thank you, Jason, for the question. Well, guys, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for the Q&A. Because yeah, we are running a bit behind. But please join us in thanking Ivan and Indra for their sharing and for giving us their time and insight on entrepreneurship, on business, and on how to start a business. So thank you, and Ivan and Indra for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You can actually check my barcode here or whatever. If you want more information, check it out.
Please follow them on their Instagram accounts as well, so that you you can follow what's happening with and what they do.
Yeah, within the barcode, if you scan it, there are information about 11 Space, about Navanti as a whole as well, so you can look at it as well. My Instagram is just myself, Ivan Tandyo. Thank you, Pak Yapit. Soon we get a chat together, I heard. Yeah, my team is organizing a meeting. So I guess my last word as well for my fellow businessmen and businesswomen, not just for startup, I think this is a crucial time. It's a difficult time for everyone, but it doesn't mean that business is it has to be bad. So I think it's a matter. I think how can we strive in the middle of the storm? I think we need each other. Number one, we need to have more brains to think about it, and we try to provide that. We want to be a friend, and we want to be your partners in going through the struggle together. As much as we are struggling in different areas too, challenges will never cease, right? But we just need to come up on top of it. So stay positive, and let's evolve, because we can evolve in any business. If you see the history of business in the humankind, we've been evolve our business for thousands of years. So let's do that again, and we within this community, with this community, I hope it makes it easier for us to be able to strive together, not on your own, but together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you for that really encouraging closing remarks. So guys, before you go, would appreciate it if you could provide us with our feedback about our event this afternoon. So if you could please complete a quick 2-minute survey to help us improve future 11 talks. So you can complete the survey by scanning this QR code now. The other thing is related to the 11 Talk series and what I guess our Ivan and Indra have mentioned earlier during the main segment. So 11 Talk series is part of the incubation program. And so the incubation program is a part of 11 Space Growth System, which is a comprehensive 13 weeks business incubator program designed to help you to transform your business ideas into reality. So application is now open for batch for 2021, which will be commencing in October. So please do contact us if you're interested in joining. So you can find out more about visiting our website, or if you'd like more information, please send us an email so that we can contact you directly. Now, our next 11 Talk episode will be on the topic of taming your tech stack. So Jackson and June, they're actually our members from Kinetics. So they will be talking about how you can effectively and efficiently manage and organize your technology platforms in the current environment. Because as you might know, these days, especially during the pandemic, where people have to work from home, most businesses, entrepreneurs and startups, small businesses, they're all relying on technology to continue running their business. And because of this, they're using so many different platforms. So Jackson and June, they're very experienced. They've been working in the industry for a long time, and they'll be talking about how you can effectively and efficiently manage all these different technology platforms that you are using. So, so please join us on Tuesday, the 23rd of September at 5 p.m. in what will be a great learning session that you wouldn't want to miss. So, as with every 11 Talk series, it is free. So all you have to do is just register yourself on Eventbrite. So if you know anyone who might be interested or might need help with that technology, please forward them this event so that they can learn something on the night. So unfortunately, that's all the time that we have tonight. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And please don't forget to follow us on our social media, Instagram and Facebook, to keep up to date with all of our events and activities. So with that being said, I wish you all a very great evening. Stay safe, and we will see you next time on 11 Talks, episode 11. Have a good night, everyone, and see you later.